for him, but also the second gas time, so super bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this goes on, though, because Reality takes such a quick command center, and mules are awesome things. He is just kind of rocking and rolling when it comes to money right now. Plenty to spare, taking bunkers where necessary, and not playing at all complacent back at home.
Mm-mm. The Roach Warren Scout was really quite good. Got supply depot here. They could repair it, because the roaches aren't here yet.
Yeah, this will buy a lot more time. So looks like he's going to do. I was going to mention, actually, funny enough, I wonder if Reality... He comes into this situation, he doesn't know SolO. Is there the ego there where you're like, foreigner Zerg, who cares what their name is? Or is there something where maybe he's playing precocious because he actually doesn't know if this is going to be like a cheesy Zerg player versus a great macro player? Like, he might not know anything about SolO at all.
I'm guessing he doesn't know anything about SolO, but he's probably not playing like the scaredest game he's played, you know, but maybe a little bit, just playing safe. But this Marine drop, it does hold your tank off, which can be a little dangerous if they are doing a push, but it's going to come out like just in time. Unfortunately, the medevac does have to come back, otherwise it will just be shot down with the Ravagers. I
was wondering why he chose to give it. Like, he just had no opposition on the other side. I feel like, why give that up? But realizing now he needs all his units back at home to stop the attack, and of course if he holds this position, it's going to be fantastic for him. Of course the Bile's coming down on top of the Liberator. Good choice, but still only 2, not 3, so it doesn't go down. This thing racking up the kills up to 7 already, and this attack's going to fall flat on its face. Tank now out as well. Even if the Liberator goes down, which it does, there's plenty of means to hold this. The bunker doesn't even break.
Yeah. That was a really good hold, and a really quick reaction, too, from Reality. Of course, saw it coming a mile away since that Reaper saw the Roach Warren. The one of mine was cleaned up on this for the map with a Spore Crawler. Didn't really do too much drone damage. I mean, 10 workers in general, though, is pretty good. And the Reality is set up for a nice push as well. So now he's going to have 2 tanks. Not really any upgrades here, but... It's about those tanks right now, and the fact that SolO doesn't have that much of an economy, so he's not going to have that much of an army.
I really like the whole. That was really just clean, no struggle, a little bit messy, but confidence, and the fact that he brought that medevac back really made that a lot easier than it should have been. But now that the time for the push goes, let's keep in mind there's no combat shells, there's no stim, but as Zombie kept bringing up, it's the tanks that are going to be the primary source of attack here.
Yeah. Without doing any damage to a Terran before this, I think it's a really, really hard push to stop. And even though he tried, it didn't do any damage.
Was it Snoot? Someone was holding this with like a stupid amount of queens, right? Like we were laughing about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Euthermal being a little bit overeager with a later push, I think. You know, he had stim, because I remember him stimming into the Ravagers, but same idea, and well, it goes worse for SolO in this game. Should have had more queens.
Yeah, it does focus right down one of the medevacs. Unfortunately, though, the tanks are in range of this. If the second medevac went down, you strip away that high ground vision, but you know, there's going to be a rally of reinforcements at some point. Let's keep in mind that Reality is just kind of taking that third leisurely while this goes on.
Yeah. Once again, trying to tear down the medevacs. Very good maneuver with the queens, but good saves on it, too, from Reality. They're not going to be able to save his tanks. That's kind of expensive. But it's taking out most of the army with it. Save this tank, at least.
Yeah, it's one of those things where SolO does hold, but at what cost? I mean, all the queens went down, which means there's not going to be transfuses. Yes, the hatchery lives, but it's not like he's actually a base up. In reality, he's the one who's mining off of his third.
Yeah.
And SolO, of course, can't. He's trying to drone, he's trying to roach simultaneously, and he can't really afford to do either, much less both. It's an unfortunate situation to be in.
Reality is just rolling in money. I mean, his macro is pretty good behind everything. With the 64 workers, 3rd CC on location, he's got all of his barracks set up, and Creamore on the way as a saturated third. Allows him to do so, and well, it's going to be game with the next push. It's unfortunately the reality of Arena, especially. Like, maybe if you mess up if your only doesn't do a lot of damage on, like, Ruins, for instance, you have some time to make miracles happen, but there's no time on this map.
His barracks are really funny, and they actually create a weird little choke with the map being what it is, but I think it's just more that he's like, I can put these wherever I'd like.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care, I'm gonna win. Combat Shows is not done for this, but I don't know if it really matters. And again, it's all about those tanks.
Yeah. This, without cheese on a map like Arena, I mean, this is kind of going exactly as you would expect. Too many times, it doesn't matter whether it's SolO or Reality, like, you strip away the names from these players, the fact is, if tanks get in this position, they're hard to deal with. And I wouldn't say that SolO, like, his roach attack was cool. It brought the drop back home. He was technically making a lot of right moves, but it just wasn't good enough to keep up with reality. Was the sad fact. I was going to say the sad reality, but trying to search for different words. GG.
GG.
Game number 1 will go to reality. Now it's going to be kind of interesting, actually. Let's assume the matches go as I think people would expect. Let's say Hydra takes it over Firecake, and let's say Reality takes it over SolO for a moment. I'm actually really interested in that group rematch of SolO versus Firecake in the losers match. Potentially. Again, maybe Firecake wins. I don't know. Maybe SolO brings us back. I don't know. But potentially what is Firecake versus SolO and Hydra versus Reality, I think, are two really interesting follow-up matchups to these initial best-of-5s. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Again, we have quite a few games to cast today. It's just that kind of, ooh, this is what could come.
Yeah. And of course, we'd be casting the losers first, so we'd more be like, are you interested in SolO versus Firecake as TvZ?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay.
Just because it is like that group rematch. SolO, who fell from grace, didn't win his group, got to come back, chance to win.
Sure.
But again, that's assuming Hydra beats Firecake, which is actually, I think, a good bet, but not a safe bet. We'll talk more about that once we reach that series. But we are getting into game for Orbital Shipyard. We'll see you guys in a moment. Oh. And I do apologize for missing this at the start of the day. Before the stream actually started, Mudcats was a new subscriber 30 minutes ago. So Mudcats, who subbed during the music intro to the stream while I was AFK in the shower. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. But we are getting into game number 2 in this best of 5. Spawning in the top right side of Orbital Shipyard, it's going to be the Blue Terran player, Reality.
In the bottom left out is the Red Zerg. He is SolO.
And of course, you guys are watching the TING Open. This tournament made entirely possible thanks to TING. Keep in mind, anyone who wins the group today, whether they get first place or second place, they're guaranteed money in the tournament at least. There's a $5,000 prize pool, and first place gets half of that, 2,500 USD. Nice.
Not too shabby. Of course, as we went over yesterday, the advanced players from this group will actually already be in the money, just $100. Certainly everyone's shooting for that first place prize, but still nice to know after a qualifier or two and 2 group stage that you're finally want to get some dough.
There was a trolley remark. I don't remember if it was Team Liquid or Reddit or maybe Twitter I saw it, but it was kind of like, I can't believe like this is still going on. There's been so many games. And I don't know in what world that's a bad thing to have so many games of StarCraft 2, but there has been a significant amount. It was double elimination for the qualifiers, an entire group, all best of 5s, not best of 3s, into another group, all best of 5s, not best of 3s, into like still many more games to come. So I do hope you guys are enjoying this. Working with Ting has been an absolute blast, making all this possible.
Yeah.
And while I don't
really nice to work with.
Yeah, I don't have any new numbers for today, but as of yesterday's stream, we were up to 32 activated accounts with Ting. So again, if we can hit 40, that means they are going to come back with another $5,000 tournament. Now, the nice thing is, we'd love to be able to have this happen almost back-to-back type thing, but it is worth noting that that 40 can come for whenever. So let's say we hit 39 by the end of the tournament, and then a year from now we hit 40, they'll be like, okay, well, you know what, let's do another tournament type thing. But hopefully and ideally, we get 40 activated accounts up and running ASAP, because we would love to just keep doing season after season after season of these Ting Opens.
Yeah. Well, the 3 racks is about to commence here, and it is scouted. I think the 3rd rack is scouted. Oh no, the overlay doesn't got in yet. Okay, so it looks like a 2 racks, I guess, but it is a 3 racks Reaper, so a little more dedicated. SolO is going to not exactly waste these lings. They technically bought some time, but he needs more than just those lings to defend against us. He needs a Roach Warren. He does slap one down. Reality slaps his 3rd CC down.
Wait, 3rd CC?
His CC.
Oh, wait, my bad. Okay, how's it took me a moment there. Still sick, guys. Feeling better. Still sick. That's gonna be my excuse for. I'm gonna milk that until I'm fully better. All right. So with the creep tumor here, he actually knows where that went, so we might throw down some more grenades for it. No, he's just gonna go for the attack. Of course, it's been a while since we've actually seen this much Reaper dedication on Orbital. For a while, this was like DGO 2. They talked about nerfing the map entirely because of it, but reality. Again, I kind of feel like it's not just that he won that first game the way he did, but it is, again, the map more than anything else that says, you know what, 3 racks Reaper can get work done. Even against
Yes.
the Roaches coming out, I mean, those aren't even automatic defense. It's not until you get Ravagers that you really auto shut down the Reapers.
It is, it's probably going to be a hold here from SolO, but it's just a question of how well does he hold. Of course, Reality now goes for his 3rd CC, so you're just anticipating that, you know?
Yeah, premonition.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll have a very, very good time in defending against the Roaches and macroing, you know? That's the real downside of being 3 racks. It's not just that you might die to the 3 racks, it's that the follow-up can be really hard to stop. You can't run across the map, so you definitely have to Nidus Swarm or like drop. I guess we saw someone do it that way. If you try and flood with Lings, that's a little bit better because eventually they will catch the Reapers. But even then, the Reapers can take out a huge chunk of Lings before they die.
Reapers are going to get caught though, one way or the other. Some do go down. I mean, for Reality, it's pretty actually important he buys as much time with the Reapers as possible. He doesn't have a great defense at home. He's in fact structural weak points at the front, reactors and tech labs right here. If SolO actually gets past these Reapers and starts the attack, I actually don't know if Reality can hold.
I think he's got a pretty good shot here. If he really feels desperate, he could build a bunker, and he's not. And usually these Korean Terrans, like they just know what they need, the very little that they need to defend against these type of attacks. And sometimes they make mistakes. So I'm not saying it's a guaranteed defense, but he has confidence in his Reapers.
Cristobal gonna land, and this is gonna be a little bit awkward. No pushing up that ramp too easily. This where the Reaper grenades once again come quite handy, because even if nothing else, they have that pushback. Just kind of spreads the units as we see into the arms of the Marines. Happy to fire down one of those Ravagers. Gonna try and focus the other one. The Lings come in as a bit of a surprise. The Roach is still quite scary. Stim not done, and the Marines, bit of a funny spot to be fighting. But these Reapers living is actually really important. They're grenades. Without the grenades, there's no way that was going to be an easy hold. But Reality does mince up his opponent.
Yeah, that was a really good hold. Grenades, pretty good, man, especially on ramps. Now, SolO, he really lost out by doing an attack like that. Even though, like, it looks awfully desperate to have, like, you know, 20 Lings and, like, 6 Roaches just stay at home and do nothing. It is often the better choice because they're almost always going to be able to defend unless you can get them over there via Nidus Swarm or via drops, which of course he was not set up to do. So now he just used an entire army. He had to remake an army, so that's not going into his drones, obviously. His 3rd base only now gets set down, so the same time that Reality's does, and Reality has higher SCVs. You can just look at it like, you know, this... It still would have been a hard game had he not done that attack, but it's like... it probably would have been better off. And now Reality is going to be prepared with his push, which only has taken a little bit of damage.
All right, well, before the attack hits, got to give a shout out to Ragamuffin for the $5 donation. He says, "Good morning. Thanks for keeping me entertained while I'm at work. Programming is frustrating, and your melodious voices help curb the salts."
Oh,
thank you very much, sir. I don't know if I'd call my voice melodious, but I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that word. Either way, thank you so much. Now, the Marines come in, and this is funny because they do have stims, as we see just stutters into this. Takes down that Queen immediately. Lings melt away like nothing at all, and even the Roaches going to go down. Ravager's going to go down. No medevacs necessary as he does take on the Zerg defense. 7 more Roaches are on the way, and these Marines here will not end the game. But they have done a significant amount of damage already. In fact, invoking a drone pull. Oh, dear.
Yeah. It's trading army for army when you're in a better situation. Gets 5 drones as well, so a little bit in the economy.
Well,
and round number 2.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's army for army, yeah, but it's minerals for gas, and that's where it really hurts.
Yeah, it definitely went poorer for SolO, and it's going to go even worse as the drops were actually just sent over with the medevacs that were supposed to usually meet up with the first attack. So a little bit funky to see. Now it's going to turn into a drop. Reality is sending over more drops. Like, he really does not want to rally through the middle of the map. He wants to get this game over and done with. It is a little late in Korea. It's midnight, so maybe he actually does want to get over and done with.
That's where I get worried, though, because we see a lot of times where Terran players do start trying to just end things too quickly. They get a little too ahead of themselves, and that's when you start seeing throws happen. I'm not saying Reality's in that bad of a spot. I mean, he's got the upgrades up the wazoo. 1-1's finished. His supply's fantastic. It's going to be hard for him to actually like straight up throw this game. But if he does start reaching in too deep and overextending constantly and consistently, that's where SolO has a chance. That's where SolO has the best chance.
That's true. He could start dropping a little bit too much and actually have SolO with great drop defense, constantly just picking off units. If he had Banelings, I'd be really afraid of him stimming into Banelings, but without it, he is kind of free to stim in and get out too, which is the worst thing, is that there's not going to be any muted to stop him from just picking up units whenever he decides that, oh, I did make a bad engagement. So this is going to be a tough one for SolO.
This is good. I love the way he's left 3 roaches in each of these spots. They won't single-handedly stop drops, so they'll pick off the Marines, so most of them will be dead before they all unload. Queen can be picking away at the medevacs, but of course we do know the big attack is coming here on the right side. Rocks are knocked down, and there's just not enough corrosive biles in the world to stop this.
No. I mean, maybe SolO, if he hadn't taken... no, even if he had taken... the army and the drones with him. I don't know. I don't think there is a way to really recover
the
easily
Widow Mine
off the back of the third base. Being so late. We tried. Just trying.
Well, thank you, Bleed a Bear, by the way, for the 10-month resub. This fight goes pretty damn well for Reality. He doesn't get a secret drop off of the backside of it or anything. And SolO, I will say, is tangoing this not too poorly, but Zerg having defender's advantage and all, he should be taking a better lead than this, and unfortunately, it's just not happening. Almost catches those medevacs with corrosive biles. That would have been real nice. So Widow Mine's coming off cooldown, round 2.
Yeah, round 2 came to the middle of that map, and I was just like, obviously game over. Such a large amount of blue. Upgrades are actually even, which is surprising, but it doesn't matter. Numbers are winning out here. Up 100 supply. That's that.
Yeah. Third base falls, a little bit sad. Rally continues, and SolO is going to fall down in game number 2. Luckily, though, these are not best of 3s as you would typically see, and they are best of 5s, so SolO's got a little bit more life left in them. Maybe this third map's where the turnaround happens. I do want to point out, by the way, all of our 3-2 reverse kills yesterday all started off like really one-sided, and then got turned around, which was kind of cool. So I'm not trying to pre-build this up. I still think Reality's going to take this series 3-0, but I'm not counting anybody out.
I think what's worse is that we always have to consider the curse.
Right? I mean, Euthermal almost beat it.
He almost did.
He was one game away in an ace match away from defeating the curse. Alright. Brianna Terraces, folks. Sorry for the gross noises. We'll see you in a sec. Alright, welcome back. Game number 3. Already underway in the bottom right side of Brianna Terraces with unnecessarily epic music to start the game. It's going to be the blue Terran player, Reality.
In the top left as the red Zerg, he is SolO.
If I could set, like, if StarCraft 2 would let you set the music, right? And I'm not talking about controlling it in game, but just like set an order things would play in. I would definitely not put the loudest music to start the game with.
Sometimes it's really epic. Like, imagine this was like BlizzCon Finals, and everyone's all hype in game number 1.
They actually have a track that I think is great for that, but the one I've currently got sounds like you're in the middle of a heated battle, and I think it just sounds wicked out of place. Although, I was talking to our mod developer, right? So, Mr. Anonymous, who we love but we can't name, who helped us come up with things like these graph mods, for example, was telling me there is a way to set it so you could have music sort of dictated by things like APM and whatnot, which I think would be kind of cool. But the problem with that is, with Zerg APM being measured the way it is, you'd have them make 14 drones and the most epic music in the world would queue up. So it wouldn't necessarily work around battles. So I was thinking, I wonder if there's a way to do it where, like, when the army supplies start reaching like 50 to 100, that's when the more epic music takes priority to guarantee that you'd have it during a fight.
It'll probably be better in Legacy of the Void and then Heart of the Swarm, where, you're starting to build your mech army. It's just like, well, nothing's really happening. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, exactly. we see a second command center coming down. Boom 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 dun 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 dun. That would have been really annoying, of course, to lose the SCV, but SolO's drone, unfortunately, not going to make it out of here alive. Rip.
Yeah, Preon Terraces is another map that could have had another Mass Reaper opener, so getting that drone scout was going to be peace of mind. It is Brown Terraces, which I didn't really go over, but it might be SolO's best chance of a map here. I mean, I would have said Arena too, because Cheese had worked out better, but obviously didn't. So here we go with the macro game.
But that's the interesting point about SolO, right? Like, we haven't really had Cheese, so to speak. Like, we've had aggressive openers, but not exactly all-ins. We haven't had the Queen drop version of anything. And I would have loved to have seen him Cheese, because I do think, like, honest to God, Lily Canine being the best example I can think of. When you're coming up against a player who is just straight up better than you in skill, Cheese can actually get you victories, where most games you wouldn't get them.
Yeah, I guess the it's like Cheese or pressure, and the Roach thing was just a pressure. I guess, you know, we already tried to define Cheese, and that didn't really work out. But I think a lot of them were like, you don't expect it. So unfortunately, Reality's been so good with his Reaper control that's the option to Cheese to throw down a surprise Baneley Nest after the Reaper didn't show his face has not been there for SolO.
I mean,
which would have been really cool.
You bring up the Reaper, just control in general from Reality. I mean, like, he's playing on the NA server away from Korea, which isn't admittedly that terrible, but, you know, his Marine splits, his control, the stutter step, just to aggressively get on top of his opponent in that last game. I mean, I've been pretty impressed with everything Reality's been doing. Like, Grenade gets a bit of damage done.
SolO, please don't not go for Roaches this game. Or Baneley Nest. Please no. I mean, you did the other two games.
Roaches are actually a great idea on, Prion Terraces. Just because you do have the gold base, you have more money. Roaches, for all things considered, are still pretty expensive units when it comes to mineral cost.
Okay. His Roaches should be able to get out in time. Like, I don't know. It's going to be difficult. And they might be coming out one at a time, too, against this Hellbat attack that we're going to see here. So that's the worst thing. Is Roaches can actually die to Hellbats if they're, you know, popping out into Hellbats around, or if there's only 4 of them, and SolO doesn't have that much gas, so it is only going to be like 4 Roaches. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, no Spine Crawler. He gave away several Lings already in the middle of the map. I mean, every little bit counts, especially when you're dealing with Hellbats, for goodness sake. Extra Queens are always nice to have. First Hellbat does get picked off, but that's, you know, the cost of a lot of Lings that are transfused. Roaches have only just begun. Pulling the drones completely out of this base may be the best course of action.
If he was reinforcing with Hellions, this could have been a problem, like a real problem, like game-ending problem, and the drones would have got roasted, but he's not reinforcing with Lings or Hellions.
Running away instead of the top of the ramp. I don't know about that. Overload's getting picked off as a consequence. I mean, this is how you want to use Lings. You send them in a couple at a time, and you don't get them all fight up at the same moment from those Hellbats. But now that Roaches are coming out, it's already, I feel, almost too much damage done. It's
not an awful lot of direct damage, so like only 7 drones went down, you know. But it is, of course, at a time where he was building drones to get to a 3rd base. He didn't really want to build Roaches at this time. He spent so much time off of mining, so he hasn't actually been using any gold base.
And plus, the income just fell. I mean, that's the one biggest thing here. The second the drones got pulled off of a gold base, while a Terran player has mules plus a gold base, I mean, like, you're just not going to be playing the money game whatsoever. The Liberator's also going to make sure there's not going to be any mining going on here, which really sucks because he does need to mine to make up for that lost time.
Yeah. Build here just really worked out against what SolO is doing. Just, you know, a little bit too greedy on that Roach Warren timing. Or, you know, it could have also been a Baneley Nest, and he did pay the price for it. If you have even 4 or 5 Roaches already ready to go, like in a concave on the low ground, you see the attack coming, you have, like, such a better chance. And sure, you're not going to have a counterattack, because Reality followed it up so quickly with tanks, but it would have been better. And he would have been droning happily right now, as opposed to just trying to recover with drones. Once again, Reality ahead in workers, just like last game, and taking that normal base as his 3rd. I mean, if he really felt confident, I think he could take the gold base, but either way, he's got better mining.
Interesting opinions coming out of chat from some of our subs, by the way, saying, I guess in response to the Cheese talk a few minutes ago, you know, that stream delay, more respect to SolO for trying to play straight up, and I don't think he's playing a bad, like, if it comes to a macro game, like, SolO knows how to play, but it is, again, you're coming up against Reality, who's not just going to let you play a passive macro game. You're gonna be fighting the whole way through. That's Korean StarCraft in a nutshell, I feel, too. Not a lot of passive games unless it's like ZVZ.
Yeah, I don't know. As someone who has hated their fair share of cheesers for knocking out the more standard macro players, it is just like, do you want to win or don't you? So if cheese might actually be your most viable strategy, then you gotta go for it. Damn to all the
I guess
naysayers.
the counter argument would be, like, if he wasn't confident in cheesing and he thought he'd look even worse, at least he tries a strategy he's comfortable with.
That's true. He's not a cheeser normally, he might just look even worse with it. But that is going to be the difference between I guess the guys who usually make it to the round of 8s and not. Like even without these Koreans that are influencing the decision or whatever, it's those tournament players that get to the later stages of a tournament, the ones that have a ton of builds to work with and can vary up their styles. I mean, Snoot is a grade A macro player, but he has 1 or 2 all-ins to throw in that he knows how to do really well. So
yeah. So, a couple interesting points on this. We'll note that the supplies have kind of evened up, and tech isn't looking too bad. We're going to have 1-1 for SolO, we're going to have 1-1 for Reality. He's going to stim combat shields, all this goodness. But the problem is, when you're going Roach Ravager, you're not supposed to be on even supply. You're supposed to have more supply. You're supposed to be, like, inflated out the wazoo and just really getting ahead of the game. Especially when gold bases are in play. So SolO, admittedly, like, he's done a great job of sort of catching up from that early attack. The problem still remains, like, he's going for an infestation pit and burrow. Like, what is this, Hive? It's wishful thinking, I feel.
Yeah, I guess he's going to try and go to Hive. If he was like 20 supply up with these upgrades being ahead of Reality, I think he actually could have taken a pretty damn good fight, especially since Reality is not abusing any cliff or whatever, no ledge. So, but without all of that, he also would have been able to take advantage of no combat shields, but instead he's the one on the defensive.
I wonder if he might swap to Pathogen Glands / Infestors given the present situation. Might be better. I mean, Hive Tech's the better long game, but you can't get there, right? Of course, the Bao's going to force off a lot of tank pickups, not killing them, but does take them out of the fight temporarily. Marines, of course, the first part of this where I had woed and moved commanded into the Roaches and Ravagers, but those tanks make it up for that minor mistake. Lots of Zerg corpses going flying.
Dang, I mean, SolO did a decent job bringing back to even, and if he had not been looking towards that Hive and that long game, he could have been taking a good fight here. I mean, he had 1-1, and the Terran had no combat shields.
That
actually would have been a pretty good fight for him.
I don't think he was looking for Hive. I actually do think it was going to be the attempt for Infestors, but this timing, either way, regardless, caught him so badly off guard. And now that supply that caught up does diminish. GG. Thank you, by the way, to Charred Resistors for the 24-month, for the 4-month resub, and then Gilgo for the brand new sub. New sub hype. Oh, and Lycan just hit the 18-month resub as well here at the end of the game. Perfect timing.
Cool. Well, now we're going on a Fire Cake versus Hydra.
Yeah, so this one's going to be interesting. We're still going to be staying on North America for this. Hydra also, this is like 30 minutes early. I don't even know if he's online. It doesn't look like it. So I'm going to go poke around and look for him.